The battlefield burned beneath a blood-red sky. Smoke rolled across the broken earth, and the air reeked of metal, oil, and death. Among the fallen soldiers and shattered machines lay Corporal Ryan Hale. His armor cracked open, his body covered in dust and blood. Every breath he took felt like knives cutting into his lungs. He could barely move, but his eyes stayed open, refusing to surrender to the darkness crawling in. He had been part of the 8th Human Defense Division, one of the last units holding the line on the barren planet of Vorn 6. The Thalri Empire, tall, silver-skinned aliens with minds as sharp as blades, had attacked without mercy. Their weapons tore through human defenses like paper. Ryan's squad had fought bravely, but bravery wasn't enough against plasma fire and machines that thought faster than humans could blink. Now, all that remained was silence. The kind of silence that follows when everything worth saving is gone. Ryan tried to reach for his weapon, but his arm didn't obey. It just lay there, heavy and numb. He coughed weakly, spitting blood. His vision blurred, and he could feel the cold creeping in. That deep, still cold that meant the end was near. For a moment, his mind drifted away from the war. He saw flashes of home, his little sister chasing him through the fields of earth, his mother's warm smile at the dinner table, the smell of rain on metal rooftops. He wondered if they even knew he was still alive. Maybe by now his name was already carved on a wall somewhere, another lost soul in a war too big for anyone to understand. "Guess this is it," he whispered to himself, a weak laugh escaping his lips. His voice sounded strange, small against the vast emptiness around him. Then something stirred in the smoke. A sound, soft but deliberate, footsteps that didn't belong to any human. He forced his eyes open, blinking through the haze. Out of the shadows, a tall figure approached, cloaked in faint silver light. At first, Ryan thought it was death itself coming to take him. But as the figure came closer, he saw the truth. The elegant armor, the strange symbols glowing on its surface, the shimmering silver skin beneath a translucent mask. Athalari Ryan's heart thudded weakly in his chest. He tried to raise his hand toward the sidearm lying inches from his fingers, but he couldn't. His body refused. All he could do was glare as the alien knelt beside him. The Thalri's face was smooth, almost human in shape. But the eyes, those eyes glowed like liquid mercury. Calm, intelligent, and strangely sad. "Do not move," she said softly. Her voice was neither cold nor cruel. It was melodic like the hum of stars. Ryan managed a whisper, his throat dry and broken. You're Thalri?" "Yes." The alien's hands moved swiftly, pulling out a device shaped like a crystal shard. A thin blue light spread from it, scanning his wounds. "You are human, severely injured. Multiple fractures, lung collapse, internal bleeding." Her tone was factual, but beneath it he heard something else, concern. He tried to laugh, but only coughed harder. "So what, you checking if I'm worth studying before I die?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she pressed the glowing crystal to his chest. The pain that followed was unbearable, like fire and ice twisting together through his veins. Ryan gasped, his back arching off the ground, but the alien held him down with surprising gentleness. "Stay still," she said. "You will live." "Live?" he croaked. "Why? Why would you save me? You're one of them." Her eyes softened for just a second. "Because I chose to. I'm not like the others. I serve life and not war." Ryan blinked, unable to believe what he heard. The glow from her crystal spread through him, sealing wounds that should have killed him. His breathing steadied, the agony dulled to a deep ache. His heartbeat, once fading, now pulsed strong again. The alien looked at him one last time before standing. Her silver armor shimmered under the dying fires. "Rest," she said. "Your body will recover soon." Ryan wanted to speak, to ask her name, to understand why an enemy would save him, but exhaustion dragged him under. His eyes closed. The last thing he heard was her quiet voice, low and certain. "Your life is mine to protect now, human." And with those words, darkness claimed him, but it was no longer the cold darkness of death. It was the calm, warm dark of sleep, carrying the faint promise of life. When Ryan opened his eyes again, the world around him didn't feel real. The pain was gone. The battlefield, the smoke, the screams, all vanished. In their place was a soft silver glow and a deep humming sound that seemed to vibrate through his bones. He lay on a smooth bed that looked like glass, but felt warm against his skin. Strange blue light drifted across the ceiling like waves in an invisible ocean. The air was clean, almost too clean, and carried a faint metallic scent. He turned his head and winced. The movement made him dizzy. "Where am I?" he whispered. "You are safe." The voice came from the corner of the room. Calm, controlled, familiar. Ryan's eyes followed the sound and found her, the same alien woman who had saved him. She stood near a table filled with glowing tools and medical instruments that floated gently in the air. Her tall form was wrapped in soft white armor that shimmered like moonlight. Her silver eyes met his, sharp yet kind. Ryan struggled to sit up, but a pulse of light came from the bed, holding him down gently. "You should rest," she said. "Your body has not fully healed," he frowned. You really saved me." "Yes," she said simply. He looked down at his chest. The hole that the explosion had carved into him was gone. His skin was whole, pale under the light, but untouched, like nothing had ever happened. Even his old scars had disappeared. "I don't understand," Ryan muttered. "You're a Thalry. You people kill us on sight." The alien tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. "Not all Thalry live for destruction. I am Dr. Lucera. My duty is to preserve life, no matter what form it takes." Her words were calm, but Ryan could feel the weight in them, like she had said those words many times before and paid a heavy price for them. He hesitated, his voice soft. "Why me? Why save a human soldier? Your people hate us." She turned away, adjusting something on her glowing monitor. "Because I saw something in you," she said quietly. "When I found you on that field, you were dying, but your eyes, they did not give up. Even as your body failed, you still wanted to live. I could not let that light go out." Ryan stared at her, speechless. There was no hatred in her tone, no superiority. Just truth. Simple, heavy truth. He looked around again. The walls of the chamber seemed alive, gently pulsing like the inside of a living creature. Every sound, every light moved in harmony, as if the whole ship breathed with her. "You're not with the Thalry army anymore, are you?" Ryan finally asked. Lucera paused, her silver eyes flickering for a moment. "No," she said. "I left them. I refuse to heal soldiers who kill only for conquest. To them, that makes me a traitor." Her voice trembled slightly at the last word, and Ryan felt something twist in his chest. He could see it in her posture, the loneliness, the quiet pain of being cast out by her own kind. "Then you're running," he said softly. She nodded once. "I am, and now you are with me." Ryan swallowed hard. "That doesn't sound like a good thing." Lucera turned toward him fully, her tall frame moving with grace. "It means your life belongs to me now," she said. "Not in the way you think. It is my duty to protect the life I save. It is our oldest oath. From this moment, your survival is my responsibility." He blinked, taken aback. "You're saying, if I die again, it's on you?" "Yes," she said. "If you perish, I fail." There was no pride in her tone, only a quiet seriousness. Ryan could feel the truth of it. She wasn't doing this out of kindness alone. It was something sacred to her. He leaned back slowly, staring at the soft light above him. He didn't know whether to feel grateful or afraid. This alien, this enemy, had tied her life to his. After a moment, he looked at her again. "You don't have to do this, you know." She stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "I do, it is done." Ryan met her eyes, seeing that strange glow of determination again. For the first time in a long while, he felt something warm stir in his chest. A faint flicker of trust. "Thank you," he said quietly. Lucera didn't answer. She turned away, adjusting her tools again. But Ryan caught the small curve at the corner of her mouth, almost like a smile that she tried to hide. "Rest now, human," she said softly. "The universe outside is cruel. You will need your strength." Ryan closed his eyes, the hum of the ship surrounding him like a heartbeat. For the first time since the war began, he felt something he hadn't known in years. Peace. And somewhere deep within the alien ship, Dr. Lucera watched over him, silent and still, keeping the promise she had made among the ashes. "Your life is mine to protect now." The days passed slowly aboard the alien ship. Ryan didn't know how much time had gone by. There were no windows, no sunrise or sunset, only the soft silver glow that filled every corridor. Sometimes he forgot the war even existed. Sometimes he almost felt human again. Dr. Lysara kept herself busy most of the time. She would move from one room to another, checking instruments, reading strange floating symbols that made no sense to him. Her movements were always calm and precise, like every motion had a purpose. But Ryan had begun to notice the small things. How she paused whenever the ship shuddered, or how her silver eyes dimmed slightly whenever she thought he wasn't watching. One day, as he sat at the edge of the medical platform, Ryan finally broke the silence. "You don't talk much," he said. Lysara turned her head slightly, the corner of her mouth twitching. "Talking is not healing." Ryan smiled faintly. "Maybe not, but it helps pass the time." She gave a quiet sigh, the kind that sounded more human than she probably meant it to. Humans fill silence with words. Thallery fill it with thought, he chuckled. "Yeah, well, if I sit here thinking too much, I'll lose my mind." That made her look at him fully. Her expression softened just a little. "You are recovering faster than I expected," she said. "Human resilience is impressive," he shrugged. "We're good at surviving what we shouldn't." There was a long pause before she said softly, "You should not have survived that explosion. Not even with my tools." Ryan looked down at his hands. The skin was new, untouched, like a stranger's. "Then why did I?" She tilted her head, studying him for a moment before replying. "Because I refused to let you die." Something in her voice caught him off guard. It wasn't arrogance or pride, it was almost pain. Ryan frowned. "You said it's your duty to protect life, but it feels like it's more than that. Like it means something deeper." Lysara walked over to the table beside him and placed her long fingers on the surface. A soft light followed her touch. "Among my people," she began quietly, "a healer's vow is sacred. When we save a life, that life becomes tied to ours. If the one we heal dies, a part of our essence dies with them. It is not superstition. It is real." Ryan blinked, stunned. "You mean if I die?" "Yes," she interrupted gently. "Then I die too." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The hum of the ship filled the silence between them. Ryan's chest felt tight. He looked at her, at the calm, silver figure who had saved him from the edge of death, and realized she was carrying a weight far heavier than he had imagined. "You shouldn't have done that," he said quietly. "You didn't even know me." Her eyes flickered, catching the soft light. "It was not a decision made with logic. I saw a soldier dying, but I also saw strength, defiance, something I thought my people had lost long ago." Ryan laughed weakly. "So you're saying humans reminded you of what, hope?" "Perhaps," she said. "Or maybe I simply could not bear to see another life fade. I have seen too many already." Her voice grew softer, almost breaking at the edges. Ryan could hear the ache in it, the ghosts she carried behind those calm words. He leaned forward slightly. "You lost people too, didn't you?" She didn't answer at first. Then with a quiet nod, she said, "Yes, many. Not just humans, my own kind. I tried to save them, but war does not care who heals and who harms. In the end, everyone bleeds the same." Her hands trembled just for a second before she pulled them back, hiding the emotion that had escaped her. Ryan looked at her, really looked, and for the first time he didn't see an alien enemy. He saw someone tired, someone who had given too much, someone just trying to do what was right in a world that had forgotten what that meant. "You're not a traitor," he said softly. "You're the only one who remembers what being alive is supposed to mean." Lysara's gaze met his. "Perhaps, but to my people I am a disgrace. To yours I am the enemy. And yet here we are, healer and soldier, both running from the same war." Ryan smiled faintly. "Maybe that means we've got something in common after all." For a moment her silver eyes seemed to warm, a faint shimmer of light crossing them. Then she looked away. "Do not grow too comfortable, human. The war is not done. When they find us, I cannot promise safety." Ryan stood slowly, his voice steady. "Then until they do, I'll stand by you. You saved my life, Dr. Lysara. The least I can do is not waste it." She hesitated, then gave the smallest nod. "Very well, Ryan Hale," she said softly. Then from this moment we survived together. And in that quiet alien chamber, surrounded by the hum of unseen stars, two souls from different worlds shared a fragile promise, not born from duty, but from understanding. The silence of the ship had become their strange peace. Ryan had grown used to the soft humming of alien machinery, the glowing lights that shifted like stars, and the calm rhythm of Lysara's voice. But peace, like everything else in war, never lasted long. It started one night when the hum changed. A low vibration ran through the floor, deep and uneasy. Ryan woke instantly. The air felt heavier, tense. The lights flickered once, twice. He looked across the chamber where Lysara stood by the control panel, her silver eyes fixed on the monitors. "What's happening?" Ryan asked, already climbing out of bed. Her voice was tight. "They've found us." Ryan's heart dropped. "Who?" Lysara turned toward him slowly. "My people. The Thalri fleet. They're tracking my life signature. They know I saved a human." The words hung in the air like a sentence. Ryan felt cold all over. "Can't we hide?" She shook her head. "Their scanners reach far. We must leave." Without hesitation, she pressed her palm to the control sphere in front of her. The walls around them shifted, turning transparent. Beyond them, the void of space shimmered, and far in the distance, a massive Thalri cruiser approached, its engines glowing blue like a burning sun. Ryan stared at it in awe and fear. "That thing looks like it could tear a planet apart." "It can," Lysara said quietly. "And it will not stop until we are destroyed." She moved quickly, her long fingers flying over glowing panels. "There is a small shuttle docked below. We can escape, but only if we leave now." Ryan didn't hesitate. "Then let's move." They ran through the narrow halls of the alien vessel. The walls pulsed red as alarms screamed through the air. The ship's voice, mechanical and cold, spoke in a language Ryan couldn't understand. Lysara's pace was fast, graceful, but Ryan kept close behind her. When they reached the hangar, Lysara pressed her hand against the control pad, and the door to a smaller craft slid open. "Get in," she said. Ryan stopped at the edge of the ramp. "Wait, what about this ship?" "It will draw their fire," she replied. "It will not survive, but it will give us time." She climbed inside and Ryan followed. The shuttle was smaller, sleeker. Glowing veins of silver light ran along the walls. The moment they strapped in, Lysara pulled a lever. The shuttle roared to life, shaking violently as it detached from the main ship. Ryan felt the force crush his chest as they sped into the darkness. Behind them, the Thalri cruiser opened fire. Blue plasma bolts streaked past, shaking the shuttle as explosions echoed across the void. Lysara's hands moved faster than his eyes could follow. "Hold on," she shouted. Ryan grabbed the side of his seat. "You're the one flying, Doc." "I'm already holding on!" Despite the chaos, Lysara's lips curved slightly, the ghost of a smile. Human humor. "Even in death." "Yeah," Ryan said, his voice tight. "It helps me not scream." The shuttle twisted hard to the right, dodging another burst of plasma. Ryan's stomach lurched. "We're not going to make it, are we?" "We will," Lysara said firmly. "We must." The main cruiser loomed closer, its shadow swallowing them. Suddenly, Lysara's eyes flared silver. She slammed her hand down on a panel, and a sphere of light erupted from the shuttle's rear, exploding in a blinding flash. Ryan shielded his eyes. When the light faded, the massive cruiser had lost them. "We're cloaked," she said, breathing heavily. "They cannot see us now, but the energy will not last long." Ryan looked at her. Sweat glistened on her pale skin, and her body trembled slightly from exhaustion. She looked fragile for the first time. "You okay?" he asked quietly. "I will recover," she said. Then after a pause, "You risked your life for me. You could have stayed hidden when I ran for the shuttle." He gave a small shrug. "You saved me first. Guess I owed you one." Lysara stared at him for a moment, her eyes softening. "You humans, you are strange. You fight for each other even when logic says you should not." Ryan smiled faintly. "That's what makes us human." She looked out at the stars. "Perhaps that is what makes you powerful." For a long moment they sat in silence, the stars drifting by outside. The hum of the engines was steady again. No alarms, no screams, only peace returning for a fragile heartbeat. Then Lysara said softly, "We are not safe yet. But we are together, and that is enough." Ryan leaned back, exhaustion washing over him. "Together," he whispered. "Yeah, that's enough for me too." Outside the shuttle, the endless black of space stretched on forever. Two fugitives, one human, one alien, floating between worlds, bound by a promise neither fully understood. And somewhere, behind them, the fire of pursuit still burned. The small shuttle drifted through the silence of space for hours. The stars glimmered like cold, distant eyes watching them pass. Inside, Ryan sat across from Lysara, both of them breathing hard after the chase. The hum of the engines was weak now, low and uneven, like the ship itself was tired. Lysara's hands moved across the control panel, her silver fingers trembling. Sparks burst from one of the screens and a sharp alarm filled the cabin. "What now?" Ryan asked, gripping the seat. "The core is unstable," Lysara said quietly. "The cloak drained too much energy. We cannot stay in space much longer." "Meaning?" She looked up at him, her calm breaking for the first time. "Meaning we are going down." Before Ryan could respond, the shuttle jerked violently. The stars outside spun into blinding streaks of light. He felt his body slam against the seat as gravity pulled them toward a small gray planet below. Lysara fought the controls with steady hands. The ship shook, metal screaming, heat flooding the cabin. "Brace yourself," she shouted. Ryan did, and then everything went black. When he opened his eyes again, the world was silent. He lay on cold rock beneath a pale sky filled with dust and shadows. His head throbbed, but he was alive. The shuttle lay half buried in the dirt a few meters away, smoke rising from its side. He forced himself up, coughing, and stumbled toward it. "Lysara," he called, his voice echoing in the empty air. No answer. Panic hit him like a wave. He climbed into the wreckage, tearing through loose wires and panels until he saw her, lying near the cockpit, her armor cracked, her glowing eyes dim. "Hey." "Hey, no, stay with me," Ryan said, dropping to his knees beside her. Her chest rose weakly. "You survived," she whispered. Her voice was faint, fragile. "Thanks to you," he said, gently lifting her head. "But you're hurt bad. Tell me what to do." She gave a weak smile. "There is a case behind the seat, a healing crystal." Ryan found it, a small container filled with glowing shards. He brought it to her, his hands shaking. "Place it here," she said, guiding his hand to a wound on her side. The crystal pulsed once, then melted into light spreading across her skin, but her body still trembled. "You need rest," he said softly. "I need time," she replied. "And you?" Ryan blinked. "Me?" Her eyes opened halfway. "My strength is low. I draw energy from touch and from another's life flow. It is harmless, but I cannot take without permission." He stared at her, then nodded. "Do it, whatever it takes." She hesitated. "You trust me?" "You saved me when I should have died," Ryan said gently. "You earned it." Slowly, Lysara placed her palm over his chest. A faint light connected them. Warm, steady, almost like a heartbeat shared between two beings. Ryan felt a strange calm spreading through him, a peaceful heaviness. As the light faded, her trembling stopped. Her breathing steadied. When she pulled her hand away, her silver eyes shone again, brighter than before. She looked at him quietly for a long moment. "Human touch," she whispered. "It feels different, warm, alive." Ryan smiled weakly. "Guess that's our one good thing. We're warm, even when the world's cold." Lysara looked away, her voice softer now. "You should not have followed me into this. My choice has doomed us both." "Don't say that," he said firmly. "We're still breathing. As long as we're alive, there's hope." Her gaze turned toward the dusty horizon. "This place, it is empty. No life, no signal. We may never leave." "Then we'll build something," Ryan said. "You and me." Lysara looked at him, a strange light flickering in her silver eyes, something that almost looked like faith. "You believe survival is always possible?" "Always," he replied. "That's what keeps us human." For a long while, neither spoke. The wind whispered through the wreckage. The sun, faint and cold, shone weakly above them. Ryan gathered a few broken panels and made a small shelter beside the shuttle. Lysara sat quietly watching him work. When he finally sat beside her, exhaustion written all over his face, she said softly, "You carry pain, yet you smile." He glanced at her. "If I stop smiling, I'll remember too much. The war, the friends I lost, you wouldn't want to see that." She looked at him with quiet empathy. "Perhaps that is why I saved you. Not because you refused death, but because you still carried light inside the darkness." Ryan didn't know what to say. The words sank deep into him, warmer than any sun. As the day faded into a dim, starlit night, the two of them sat in silence beside the broken ship. The human soldier and the alien doctor, enemies once, survivors now, bound by something neither war nor fate could explain. And in that cold, empty world, their shared warmth was the only light that refused to die. Days turned into nights, and night stretched endlessly under the pale sky of that silent world. Ryan and Lysera built a small shelter near the wrecked shuttle, using what little remained of the metal and panels. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep them safe from the bitter wind. Every morning, Ryan would climb the nearby ridge, scanning the horizon for movement or a signal. He never saw anything, only dust and gray light. Yet he never stopped hoping. Lysera would watch him from below, quietly repairing what she could, her hands working even when her strength faltered. She was recovering, slowly. Her silver skin had regained some glow, and her eyes, once dim, now shone again. But there was something behind them, a sorrow she never spoke of. One evening, as they sat beside a small fire made from burning shuttle debris, Ryan noticed her staring at the flames in silence. "You're thinking again," he said softly, poking at the embers with a metal rod. "You always go quiet when you're thinking." Lysera's voice was low. "This planet, it was used once by my people for experiments. Abandoned after a reactor failure. If the old cores are still below the surface, we might harness one to signal for help." Ryan straightened. "That's good news." "Why do you sound like it's not?" She hesitated, then looked up. "Because activating it might also draw the Thalri fleet. The same fleet hunting us. They will come first, before any rescue can." Ryan's face tightened. "So if we light the signal, we bring death before hope." Lysera nodded slowly. "Yes, but without it we will die here anyway," slowly. The fire cracked between them. Ryan looked at her, the soft glow lighting her silver face. "You've been thinking about this for days, haven't you?" "I wanted you to heal first," she said. "You risked your life for me." "I could not ask you to risk it again." Ryan smiled faintly. "You don't have to ask. I made my choice the day you saved me." Her eyes softened. "You humans, you give loyalty so easily." "Not easily," he said. "Only when it matters." They worked through the night. Lysera traced a path toward the old facility buried beneath the rocks. The entrance was hidden under layers of sand and rust, but they found it. A large metal door half buried in dust. "This place gives me bad feelings," Ryan muttered. "It looks like a tomb." "In a way it is," Lysera replied. "Thousands of my kind once worked here. They all died when the core ruptured." As they entered, a wave of cold air brushed against their skin. The walls glowed faintly, filled with strange markings and dark stains that told silent stories of the past. Lysera moved carefully, tracing her fingers along an old control panel. "The reactor is still alive, barely. I can awaken it. Can you control the signal?" She looked at him sadly. "No. Once it lights, it will call everyone within range, and friend or foe." Ryan stood beside her in silence. He could see the conflict in her eyes. She wanted to save him, but feared what her people would do if they found him alive beside her. Finally, he placed his hand on hers. "Do it," he said gently. "Even if they come for us, at least we'll face it together." Her lips trembled slightly. "You would die for me, human?" He smiled. "You already gave me my life. Maybe it's time I return the favor." Lysera placed her palm on the console. Energy flowed through the room, blue light racing through the veins of the walls. The floor trembled and a deep hum filled the air. The reactor came alive again, ancient power awakening after centuries of silence. Above them, the clouds began to swirl. A column of light shot into the sky, piercing through the dust and reaching into space like a cry for help, or a beacon of doom. Ryan watched it with awe. "Well, there goes our quiet life." Lysera's voice was faint. "I can feel them. Ships moving fast. Thalri fleet. Approaching. How long?" "Less than an hour." Ryan took a deep breath, looking at the broken blaster in his hand. "Then we make that hour count." They returned to the surface. The sky had turned red now, glowing with the heat of approaching ships. Lysera's armor gleamed faintly as she stood beside him, wind blowing through her hair like tendrils. "You should hide," she said quietly. "When they land, they will take me. You still have time to run." Ryan shook his head. "Not happening. You said my life is yours to protect. Well, yours is mine to stand beside." Lysera looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then she placed a hand over his heart just as she had before. "Your courage. It burns brighter than the stars." He laughed softly. "And your kindness keeps it from burning out." The sky split open above them, streaks of light descending fast. Lysera's voice grew steady. "Whatever happens next, remember this, Ryan. You were never weak. You were never less. You were what my world forgot. A being who loves without reason. Ryan nodded, gripping his weapon tighter. And you were what mine needed. Proof that not all monsters are human. As the first shadow of the fleet fell upon them, the two stood together. A human soldier and an alien doctor side by side against the storm. Their fates were sealed. But in that final hour, they were not afraid. They were alive. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the sky above burned with fire. Dozens of alien ships pierced through the clouds, descending like falling stars. The air was heavy, thick with heat and the deep roar of engines. Ryan stood tall, dust swirling around him, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Beside him, Lysara stood silent, her armor cracked but her gaze unbroken. "This is it," Ryan murmured. "No turning back." Lysara's silver eyes reflected the burning sky. "They will come for me first. When they do, you must not resist," he gave a tired smile. "You think I'm the kind to just stand by and watch?" Her hand touched his shoulder gently. "You've already done more than enough. You showed me what courage means and what life means. That's more than any warrior ever did." Ryan shook his head. "And you showed me that mercy isn't weakness. If I run now, all that would mean nothing." For a long moment she said nothing. Then she whispered, "You are the only human I have ever truly understood." The first ship landed with a thunderous impact. The wind from its descent knocked Ryan backward, but Lysara caught him before he fell. Her touch was strong, protective, just as she had promised the day she saved him. From the dust, figures emerged. Tall, armored Thalari soldiers, their weapons glowing faint blue. At their center stood a towering figure in black armor, the insignia of command burning on his chest. "Lysara of the Seventh Order," the commander's voice thundered, amplified through the mask. "You have betrayed the Thalari Empire by aiding an enemy species. You will surrender immediately." Lysara's grip tightened on Ryan's arm. "Do not speak," she whispered softly. But Ryan stepped forward anyway. "She didn't betray anyone," he shouted, his voice cutting through the storm. "She saved a life, mine." The alien commander turned his gaze toward him. "A human soldier. You're not worth the breath she wasted." Ryan clenched his fists. "Funny, I was thinking the same about you." The alien soldiers raised their weapons, blue lights flaring. Lysara stepped in front of Ryan, her body a shield. "Enough," she cried. "If you wish for judgment, let it fall upon me, not him." The commander's voice was cold. "You chose him. Then you will die with him." He raised his arm, a signal to fire. But before a single shot was released, Lysara moved. Her body glowed with sudden energy, her armor lighting up like a dying star reborn. She turned, eyes meeting Ryan's. "Forgive me," she whispered. "This is the only way." Ryan's heart dropped. "Lysara, no," but it was too late. She spread her arms and a blinding wave of light burst from her chest. It was her core, the life source she had used to heal him. The ground split open beneath them as the energy exploded outward, swallowing everything in white brilliance. Ryan felt himself thrown backward, the heat tearing through his skin, the sound shattering the sky. Then silence. When he woke, everything was quiet again. The battlefield was gone. The ships, the soldiers, all reduced to glowing ash scattered across the horizon. The sky was still and dim. He pushed himself up weakly, his head spinning. "Lysara?" he called out. There was no answer. He stumbled across the cracked ground, searching desperately. His heart pounded, his chest ached. Then he saw her, lying near the edge of a crater, her body faintly glowing in the fading light. Ryan dropped beside her, tears already falling. Hey, look at me. You did it. You saved us." Her eyes fluttered open weakly. "You are alive," she breathed. "Because of you," he said, his voice breaking. "Always because of you." A faint smile touched her lips. "Then I kept my promise. Your life is mine to protect." He held her hand tightly. "You don't get to leave me now. Not after everything." Her fingers twitched, tracing his wrist. "Do not grieve, human. My light will fade, but yours will carry it forward." Ryan's tears fell onto her skin, shining against the silver glow. "I don't want your light," he whispered. "I want you." She looked at him one last time, her voice soft as wind. "Then remember me. In every dawn, in every breath. That will be enough." Her glow faded slowly, turning from bright silver to pale gray. The warmth beneath his hand disappeared, leaving only stillness. Ryan sat there for a long time, the world quiet around him. He felt the emptiness press against his heart, but also a strange peace. Above, the sky began to clear and a small glimmer of starlight broke through the clouds. He looked up, whispering, "You said my life was yours to protect, but now it's mine to honor." He buried her core, a small crystal shard that still pulsed faintly, near the crash site, marking it with a piece of her armor. Then with slow steps he began walking toward the horizon. Each step hurt, each breath felt heavy, but he kept moving, because that's what she wanted, for him to live. And somewhere in that endless silence he swore he could still hear her voice, soft, gentle, eternal. "Your life is mine to protect, always."